Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to Apex Online Racing. This is Tier 1 Sprint Cup Season 16, and we are here for the third round at Bathurst. Sorry about the slight delay to the beginning of the stream. That's a minor connection issues. It was fine. Everything will be fine. We're not going to worry about it at all. We're just going to keep going. So, had a little bit of a poll going earlier on in the chat to see who we thought was going to be quickest here this evening over the Great Mountain. And I'm going to end it now, so no one can do it as they're watching a wet qualifying. And there we go. There are the results. 60% saying Del Fante is going to be the quicker of the two drivers this evening. Our two championship leaders. And to be fair, first car out the pit straight away. It's car number 28 of Thomas. Really just immediately jumping out the gate. That Walkenhorst Motorsport BMW, car number 28. Stick with this young man just for a little bit, and then we will jump onto his dashboard and get an idea of what it is like to be on the dashboard of one of these cars as they do a first flying lap. Changeable conditions here this weekend as well. So, first practice was very wet. Qualifying, as you can see, seems to be pretty wet, and it looks like it's going to stay wet the entire way through with rain forecast for at least the next 30 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on the actual race. It may be slightly dry, it may just might stay wet, might stay dry, a little bit of mixed. But that is all exciting. So let's have a quick run through our top 10 in the championship. Eric Delfante, Aidan Walsingham with 179 points apiece are leading the championship at the moment. Then Alex Torregrosso in third, Valentine Barrier in fourth, Tristan Podens in fifth, Michael Thomas, who we are keeping an eye on right now, is in sixth. The Jentel Van Thielen is in 7th, Jardier in 8th, Snottins 9th, and Jimenez in 10th. So let's jump on the dashboard of this car as he starts his first flying lap here in the wet. So, turn 1, appropriately called Hell Corner, before then joining onto the mountain straight, and it'll be a long stretch foot to the floor. This is where people are going to be trying to make moves, setting themselves up for Quarry Bend. Slightly over 90-degree right-hander. You can see cars jumping out of the way already, knowing that they don't want to try and let anyone pass up here. There are blue flags are flying. Then we start getting into this walled section as they climb over the mountain through the cutting. Rolls on the throttle all the way to the outside, through Grippen's Mount, through Reed, before then trying to stay fully committed. Salmon Park here coming up as you come over this hump. Just, oh, a bit of a clip there on the wall, but probably not enough to deter him. Keeps going. Have to get hard on the brakes here as he comes down into Skyline. As you can see, there is absolutely no room for error whatsoever, and the BMW sliding around in these damp conditions. Forest Elbow now. Got to get a decent exit here so you can get as big clip of the wall there. As much power down as possible on the Conrod straight. In first practice, it was looking as if the sort of more classic front engine rear wheel drive cars were slightly more competitive. Things such as the BMW. Ford was doing really well as well. So Thomas coming towards the end of his lap now, coming down towards Murray's. This should be a lap, but I'm not sure whether he clipped the wall. It may have been validated. We'll have to wait and see what happens as he comes across the line. Final stretch to the line. What are we going to get? Yes, 2:05, and he is our first driver out there by quite a decent distance. So we'll have to wait and see what happens to other people. Time's coming in now. Walsingham putting in an identical lap time. Absolutely down to the millisecond. Walsingham. Oh, but Valentine Barrier now comes in. Sets a slightly faster lap. The drivers as well. Cruz, Mikowski, Santima, McLaren, Kaz Lucas and Clifford all starting to put in laps now. Let's have a quick jump on board. Alan Drake Cruz, the young gentleman in car number 15 for BS Competition 2021 Colts Blue. That's an absolute mouthful of a team / livery name, isn't it? Cruz into 6th place at the moment. Del Fante has now taken away pole position with a very low 205. Nearly 400ths of a second quicker than Barrier, so the Honda looking quite good here at the moment. Be interesting to see how the Hondas do in the actual race, though. Can they continue doing what they're doing here in qualifying when they've got traffic around them and other cars are going to be able to take advantage of the tow? So lots and lots of times coming in. Oh, and Cruz has abandoned that lap. Let's jump on board with someone who is on an improvement, and that is the one and only Valentine Barrier. And here comes the Honda, and here comes the Honda indeed, down the Conrod Straight. Not quite close enough to the back of the Lamborghini in front to get a tow. And hopefully won't be hindered through that final turn. They're both on flyers, so neither of them are going to back out. Number 214, of Van Thielen as well, on a big improvement. Valentine Barrier has lost a little bit of time. Still improving, but not by a great amount. Van Thielen has lost a little bit of time as well. So Valentine Barrier was in 3rd, now up into 2nd place. Aidan Walsingham, again, another driver who, well, that was through turn 1, I think. So, was improving. 3rd place, so not a massive improvement. Let's go on board with Van Thielen, who is actually now coming down towards the bottom of the mountain. He's nearly at the level. Comes through the chase. Last stretch down towards Murray's. There's traffic, but it jumps out the way. What are we going to get as it comes across the line? Was that an abandoned lap? Slightly odd, that one. The pair of them both seem to pull out the way at almost the exact same time. Very strange. Joe McLaren not driving a McLaren, which seems slightly wrong, in the Scuderia Ferrari. Was up on his lap time, but that seems to have dwindled off a little bit. Trying to see if there is anyone out there on big improvements. Oh, someone on a massive improvement. Daniel Fernandez. Don't know why on earth I said it with the more female inflection. Apologies, Daniel. Winning Rush GP. This car's been very quick around other places. So was in 33rd, but this will be a proper lap for him. And only put himself into 29th place. So not sure what has happened with the timing board. Another driver on a decent run here, though. Delabra up into 28th place. I think this is going to be one of those circuits where you either absolutely love it or you absolutely hate it. Oh, and a car. There we go. Coming into... That's not even the pits, is it? That was just an abandoning on the outside of turn 1. Chris Vining. Here we go. Someone's setting a lap out there. In another massive accident. Chris Vining. Right, car number 524. Another one of the BMWs. Just over 6 minutes of qualifying left at the moment. Vining is up on his time. He's running in 26th place at the moment. Should gain himself at least 1 or 2 positions if he can hang on to it. The car looked very skittish there. Such a hard place to work out where you're going to brake, especially in the wet. It's just very difficult to get the braking done there anyway as you come down sort of into Skyline. But you've got to be very careful. Make sure you're braking it up. Big slide on the exit, and that is the end of that one. Chris Vining will be kicking himself for that. He did really well, and then threw it away just before entering the Comrod. So just a quick shout out, gotta say, good to see Matt York back. And it's been off celebrating his marriage, I believe. So nice to have Matt York back here, and this time in the York Sport Racing Mustang. So this is a new car. We've seen him in lots of different things, but never seen him in the Mustang before. But here we are. Fingers crossed he looks racy out there. Whoa. Camera was looking in the completely wrong direction. Car number 398. Lubolasky. Do love these liveries. The Armamentario software, the sort of the split livery. You should get a decent shot of it here. How it's sort of red and white on one side, and then you've got that absolutely awesome, almost digital camo-esque all down the other side. Currently running in 23rd place, but is up on his lap time by half a second. One of the only drivers out there making big improvements. I love the sound of the Audi. It's just such an absolutely lovely screaming car as it comes through. Great big V10. And 16th place is not to be sniffed at. That's a really decent improvement. Was sort of in the mid-20s and now up into 16th place. Who else is on a decent lap? Jardier. Here we go. Car number 39. Fun fact, did get sent a livery by Jardier, but for some reason it doesn't work. So it's there on my computer. I can see it, but for whatever reason, when he uses it, it doesn't show up. So who has any idea as to why that's not working? But Jardier now in 3rd place, gets himself on the 2nd row of the grid. 3 minutes 20 left of qualifying. Not a great deal of time. Joe McLaren, another driver who is on an improvement. Not many drivers on big improvements. Actually, there is someone here. Buzov is on an improvement and comes across the line. Was in 33rd. I think they're staying in 33rd. It did look like there was going to be a big improvement, but maybe not for the Sector Blitz racing driver. Should be able to get this and one more out of this lap. Just seeing there, Aria Jazz asking about live timing. Yes, for whatever reason, there's been an update to the service we normally use, Pitwall, or Pitlink. There's been an update to that, so we are endeavouring to sort it out, but it is taking just a little bit longer than we anticipated to maybe get it sorted. So at the moment, I'm afraid there is no live timing like there used to be. But you'll just have to put up with me desperately trying to read out all the information that I possibly can. But if there is anything you want to know, people's lap times and such, do let me know and I will do my best to answer it to you. I can give you their best lap and I can give you their last lap as well. So I will do my best if you need me to crunch numbers. Putting a little bit of an eye on this one just for a minute or two. Not improving at the moment, though, is Buzov. Someone who is on a massive, massive improvement. Kevin Niles in the simply named yellow Mustang. And it looks like that Lamborghini behind them is getting a lovely tow as well off that great big Mustang punching through the air. And the slippery Lamborghini trying to use as much of it as possible. So Kevin Niles in 36th position as he comes towards the line. Are we going to see an improvement here? Goes a little bit deep, but should be all right, actually. Gains 1 position up into 35th. Due to the wet conditions, it is a bit more spread out than it normally is. Valentine Barrier on pole at the moment. We've got Delfante second. Yeah, only 14 cars within a second of each other. Normally, we'd be looking sort of way, way more than that. Did look like Barrier got a little bit unsettled there. And yes, he has lost time. No, sorry, Delfante has lost time there, although he is slowly trying to bring it back. Just avoids the wall. It's going to have to be a really good run down the Comrod. This is going to be his second to last. He should be able to get one more out of the timing board after this. Really going to be whether or not he's got enough fuel to run another lap, or whether or not his tyres are going to still be up to it. And just seeing a couple of messages in the chat as well. Lewis Robinson, good evening. Ben Milden, also good evening. Nice of you to join us again. And Lewis Robinson, one of our Tier 2 drivers, who'll be hoping to stay out of trouble. Delfante goes pole. Delfante in pole position now. So Giardier is a driver who is out on an improvement. This is going to be his final chance to do it. Barrier can't go out again now. And Jards do anything here. Veloce 2024 car. And sadly, it's such a lovely livery as well. For whatever reason, just not showing up in the server. A couple more people saying hello now. Good evening, Troy. Thank you for joining us. Qualifying coming to an end, so we were getting ready for 90 minutes of Bathurst. This is the mini endurance round, so there is a mandatory pit stop. Refueling is allowed, and tyre change is not mandatory, but probably recommended. Giard stays in 3rd place. Right, drivers who are still out there improving. Skylar Loverink is improving. Hammering down the Conrod straight as we speak. In the John Alessi esports team. And do love the 3 letters that appear in the top of the windscreen for Skylar Loverink. Obviously, that's Sky. Very nice. So coming across the line was in 13th, up into 10th place. Nice little improvement for that driver. Trying to see if there's anyone actually out there who is improving. Car number 66 and car 111 still out. This is Chris Warner, who is down on his lap time. So this is pretty much just a case of bringing it home at this point. He will be our final driver across the line in this wet qualifying. I say wet, it's been damp. Still, not the conditions you want when you're trying to race at Bathurst. Right, let's have a bit of a run through the old championship quickly, just while we're waiting for the cars to begin their gridding. So as we said earlier on, oh, there we go. Even easier. It's come to it straight away. Right, looks like it's going to be a dry start and then moving into some rain. So this could be a very, very interesting race. Obviously, it's, as well, it is getting into the evening. It is, it's actually, sorry, the morning, 6 a.m. in-game time. Let's have a little bit of a run through our grid order. Let's see if we can get that nice camera going. It should be this one. There it is. Right, pole position is Eric Del Fante. Valentine Barrier in 2nd place on the grid. Giardier in 3rd place on the grid. Aidan Walsingham in 4th. So that's a big 2 front rows. Some very big names there. Michael Thomas as well. Very, very fast. We've seen him do incredibly well. In fact, he is running in 6th place in the championship overall. So there we go. Alan Drake Cruz, 6th place. Alex Torregrossa in 7th. Christoph Makowski in 8th. The Lentil Yentil Van Thielen, as we like to call him, in 9th place. Skylar Loverink in 10th. Abe Santima, 11th. Remy Papin in 12th. Kirsten Podens in 13th. Novikov in 14th. Joe McLaren, weirdly driving a Ferrari, in 15th. Although for some reason, not able to select that driver. So what has happened there? Joe McLaren not selectable. Very strange. We'll have to see what happened there. But he should be on the grid. But he actually isn't appearing in-game. So he's on my timing board, but not there. So what's happened to Joe McLaren? I'm not sure. Possibly a disconnect. Hopefully not. Anyway, 15th actually is Jacob Blizzard. Kristen's Snottins in 16th place. Luba Slavsowski in 17th place in that screaming Audi that we very much enjoyed listening to earlier on. Jack Humble in 18th place. Jonathan Clifford, 19th. Chris Warner, 20th. Josh Waring in 21st place. Vidic in 22nd. Bosk in 23rd. Junior in 24th. Kumpo in 25th. Kaz Lucas, 26th. Kubaki 27th, Chris Vining 28th, Daniel Fernandez, he'll be disappointed with that, all the way down in 29th, and Hadawais in 30th place. Continuing on down the order, you know what? Team Shumi Skins really do some absolutely fantastic liveries. I'm really glad to see that they've got a livery in here now. Fantastic. The big dragons all down the side, big scaly boys. Very, very nice looking cars. So continuing on, 31st place, Gaston Delurbre. 32nd is Sanyal Tadic. 33rd is Nicola Buzov. Then we go down to 34th position. Giardinetto, I do apologise, it took me a little while to read that one. Kevin Niles down in 35th place. Matt York, who was not allowed to qualify due to, that was a penalty, I think, coming over from one of the previous seasons. And Daniel Solan as well, rounding out the grid for Rita Engineering Esports in 37th place. Woo! Lots and lots of cars. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a shot of... That's not the one I want. If I go Garnetto, there we go. Look, you can see back. You can see the lovely pair of Mustangs in the back. Big shame at the moment that the cameras don't seem to be able to work out how to do this shot for those cars. But yes, Matt York's York Sport looking very, very smart. Very glad to have that gentleman back with us racing. Right, the formation lap is about to begin. We will nip on to the drone cam for this one. And yes, there you go. You can see there is that empty spot on the grid where we should have had... Oh, they've gone. Where have they gone? Well, they've now gone completely. So there we go. It was meant to be Joe McLaren. Is he back? Joe McLaren is back, but now he's right at the back of the grid, 38th place. So he was, I think, 15th, 14th place, but is now dropped all the way back. So after a great qualifying, they're now going to be starting at the back. But who knows what will happen? As the sun rises, will his luck rise as well? I do apologise. I'm going to come out and say it in advance. Apologies if it gets all a little bit croaky towards the end of this race. Already got a sore throat. 90 minutes of yelling at motorsport. Who knows? Oh, I could tooth this. Good evening, sir. Again, if you enjoyed our new intro video, Arcatuthis is the man who put it all together. He is the man with the plan. And he also has a lovely pair, as he's just said in the comments. So yes, apologies if it gets a little bit croaky towards the end, or you get a couple of moments of silence. It's probably where I'm just trying to keep my voice together. So seeing in the chat now, people asking about how many pit stops are expected. To be brutally honest, we're probably only going to see one pit stop unless it rains. That will be the thing that might change it. At the moment, the track is in green condition, but it is showing that it is dry. But it is only 18 degrees out there, so it might take a little while for the track to get up to temperature. Obviously, the main thing is going to be there is only one pit stop mandatory. You don't have to do tyres. You're probably going to need fuel, and you are allowed to refuel during this 90-minute race. But it's going to depend on what the rain does. If you pit and then it suddenly starts to hammer it down later in the race and you're already on slicks, you may need to go for the dries. So, but it is going to be lovely. Oh, you can see as we come over Skyline. There's the reason it's called Skyline. Look into the distance. That lovely shot. Sort of get this drone cam weaving its way down. We should get a lovely, lovely sunrise, and hopefully not too much rain. I know lots of people, there was a practice race for AOR last night, and yeah, I think it got quite soggy during that race, so I think a lot of drivers will be hoping and fingers crossed that it stays dry. So, down the Conrod Street now. This will be final chance for people to get a little bit of temperature in the tyres. They'll be riding the brakes, hoping to get a little bit of temperature through the brakes, into the wheels, into the carcass of the tyre. So, here we go. Delphante versus Barrier on the front row. We've got Jardier and Thomas, Walsingham and Cruz, Torregrossa, Mikowski. Some very, very big, dominant names. We're going to stay on the drone cam just for the beginning of the race, and then we will switch over to the lovely cameraman standing at the side of the circuit waiting for us to take over. So an hour and a half of racing to come. It's a Honda front row. Anything could happen. The cars are still going to be streaming through the final turn when the lights go green. We are waiting for it now. Most of the cars through Murray's. It's going to be green light any moment now, and here we go. So we begin round 3, Apex Online Racing, Season 16. And Delphante manages to hold on to pole position for the moment. Looking at the timing screen, can't see any yellow flags yet at the back. That is good to see. Everyone has made it through Hell Corner as they now fly up the hill towards Quarry Bend. This is where it could all get a little bit skittish though. Everyone fully on the brakes. They're going to be side by side. We're going to stay on board just with our leaders using the drone cam to catch as much of it as possible. But if we jump back just a little bit. Oh, one car is off. Car number 14 has returned to the pits immediately. So not sure what happened there, but just concentrating on this leading stream. Oh, and another car as well. Car number 999 and 52. And I think some others as well getting involved in some incidents. We're going to go back, see if we can... Oh, that's a big old mess, that is. Oh, there we go. So, oh, there we go. There's one of the cars. That looked to be completely self-inflicted going off. That was car number 14 that we saw the yellow flag for earlier. So then this is... appears to be at the cutting. What happens here? Oh, Ferrari goes round. Everyone trying to avoid, but... Oh, lots of bunching, lots of cars getting bumped. I think everyone kind of got on the brakes fairly well. There was a car on its side briefly there. People trying to squeeze through, trying to work out whether to go right or left. That was very, very... Well, to be fair, compared to last week, it was quite tame. If you were here for Tier 2 last week, you would have seen what can only be described as the worst race of all time when it came to lap 1. So that was a bit more civilised. At least it was... slow bumping. And Jardier has now got himself up into second place. A little bit wide there on the exit though. Can he keep it together? He came through the chase and did manage to gain a position. It was Apesum Teamer, car number 14, that we saw go back to the pit. So Jard has managed to break away. Walsingham now chasing after the back. Can he do anything here? He's going to be looking to the outside. Can he get the switch back and a better exit? Not quite. I think the curb just unsettled that McLaren a little bit. Van Thielen has technically set the fastest lap of the race on that outlap. Andre Cruzo having a real battle. Van Thielen. Oh, and there's a bit of bump drafting going on. In fact, there's a three-way bump draft going on there. Manages to push the Ferrari through. Van Thielen gains the position after a little bit of a nudge there from Mikowski. But Cruz has managed to take the position back there, going through turn 2. Again, this pack of cars very, very close together, pushing hard. Cruz just about holding on to it for the moment, but there was definitely bump drafting going on there, which didn't expect to see. This isn't NASCAR, but you know what? If it's a long straight and the tactics works, the tactics works. They did technically get through. Got to be careful though not to do any damage to the rear or front splitter of the cars that you are trying to help push your way through. The last thing you want is to try and go for it. Yeah, just seeing in the chat, someone saying car number 212 has gained a whopping 9 places already. So where's car number 212? That is Junior. Run DJC Racing. Let's move off of the drone cam. Let's go down a little bit closer to the circuit. We'll get a bit of an idea of the cars as they race past onto the Conrad. Exhausts already glowing red. Oh, but this is only essentially their first proper flying lap, and those exhausts are already absolutely baking hot. We're going to jump aboard with Aidan Walsingham, who has finally managed to get past Barrier. This is down towards Murray's. He's got the inside. Barrier going to try and go all the way around the outside. They do touch. Barrier goes out onto the grass. There's a little bit of a rub. It was always going to be very tight to try and get both those cars through there, but they did somehow get through. The Barrier definitely lost out a little bit and was ended up a little bit wide and pushed out, but he is going to be in a good position here as they come up Mountain Straight. He's going to be in the slipstream, which might not seem like the best place, but you are behind, which means you might be able to get a decent run up into turn 2. So swinging it in. And for now, Aiden is holding on to that position. So Delphante leads, Giardier second, Aiden now in 3rd place. Dropping back into this pack once more as they're now coming flying through the cutting up into Griffin's Mount. Front end of these Mustangs looking so good at the moment. Just the little red lights on the front. Looking absolutely demonic, and they sound so fantastic as they whip by. See the cars go super, super light there. Now heading down into Skyline. Everyone bunches up as they enter this hard braking zone. Giardier is now set the fastest lap of the race. What was Giardier's time? It was 2:01.4 was his fastest lap. Sticking on board with this nice little mid-pack battle at the moment. This is essentially... Well, this is the battle for 6th place, really. They're all kind of starting to spread out just a little bit now. Oh, we just saw a yellow flag up at the top of the mountain. It was so brief, though. I don't think we'll even get to see who that was. That was probably just a bit of a wall bash from somebody. Let's have a little bit of a look further down the grid. Matt York, who is climbing his way up through, up into 27th place. That's a really good run. Feeling pretty at home in the York Sport Ford Mustang. So far, track conditions are still green, and it's looking like it's just going to be cloudy for the next 30 minutes, but who knows, it may get wet. It may start to burn off as the sun rises a little bit more. Oh, here we go. Nearly 3 wide in the background going on now. Salan versus Lovering. I think that is maybe Buzov as well. Yeah, just behind them. Oh, and there was a car off there at turn 1. Don't know who that was. Missed that, but Salan versus Lovering. These two absolutely squabbling it out. Around the outside at turn 2. That is a brave move, and probably a bit of a daft move as well. So they did back off, jump back in behind. Just seeing cars that are in the pits. We've got McLaren. We've also got Fernandez, and Lobolowski has also completed a pit stop, but is a couple of laps down at this point. Continuing to push on. Oh, big wall strike there for the Ferrari. Lovering really did batter into the wall. They'll be disappointed in that. That's going to definitely do some damage. There's yellow flag, car number 187 is sideways on the mountain. Of all the places to be, that is not where you want to be. That is Vidic. We'll see if we can go back 30 seconds and see if we can spot what happened here. Were they assisted, or was that just a case of outbrake themselves and got a bit of a slide? So they're coming towards Skyline now. I imagine this is where it's all going to start to go wrong. Yes, and you see big snap of oversteer. He's on the brakes, but the car just keeps sliding, gets himself in the middle of the road. Matt York and some of the others just clipping and trying to avoid. Always a difficult one, whether you're going to go to the right or the left. How are you going to avoid the incident? And sadly, some of the cars did not get what they wanted there. But they are continuing on. Vidic does keep going in the clear racing car. So this is Jack Humble for Sky Sim Sport, car number 44, currently running in 14th place at the moment. It's open a little bit of clean air, although they have now got Blizzard in front of them. And in fact, I believe, if I am not mistaken, these two are teammates. Yes, they are. They both race for Sky, and they are both in the McLaren. So teammates working together, possibly. There won't be too much of a battle between them, I don't imagine. We have now gained 1 degree of track temperature and ambient temperature. Ena Walsingham in 3rd place has now put in the fastest lap of the race with a 2:09. So we are starting to see times come down as cars get up to temperature. Those tyres coming into the right zone. Plus people getting a little bit of space to actually race, as opposed to just being all stacked up, unable to really show what their cars can do. Oh, and just in the nick of time, we saw one of the... Deary me. I think that was Kaz Lucas. That was Kaz Lucas. We're going to jump back. We're going to actually go on his dashboard for this one. So we just saw him there as he's going towards Skylane, getting really out of shape. I think it was through Philemy Park, actually. So now it's going through Solomon Park. Manages to hold on to it. This is going to be Philemy. I think that was inside wall clip. He just clipped, went absolutely sideways. And that was the end of that. Big slide into the wall. Be very disappointed in that, I imagine. Oh. So, Kaz Lucas, the G-Liga Esports Elite car, running some pretty hefty front end damage now. In fact, Kevin Nars is looking to take advantage of the fact that that car is limping its way back to the pits, I would imagine. I know it does stay out, so obviously thinks they can run with the damage, so we'll have to see how that goes for them. Jumping back on board, this is Alan Drake Cruz with Toro Grosso and Znotins right behind him, nibbling away at the back. Up over the mountain once more, that lovely drone cam, getting an idea of just what it is like, these groups of cars all together running as one long snake. You can see all the way back to Podens that this is quite a tight little group, these 4 cars. Alan Drake Cruz, no slouch whatsoever, but he's been given some serious pressure from the 217, the 77 and the 69. Nice. Another little tight one going on is this one here. Kumpu versus Tadic, and then immediately behind you've got Bosch versus Hanowitz. Some very, very close stuff. Almost hard to tell where the sparks are coming from. Are they coming from underneath the car? Or are they coming from the sides of cars as they sneak their way down the mountain, trying to avoid any incidents if they can? Are we going to possibly see a move here? Tadic versus Kumpu. And yes, Tadic does look to the inside. He had the slipstream. He's going to have the run. Is he going to be able to get around the outside, though? It's going to be the long way round. He'll have the inside for this second part of the turn. No, he can't. He just dipped the wheel onto the grass, I think, and that lost him just that little bit of exit speed. Can he do anything with the brakings at Murray's? No, I don't think he can. Kind of a 2.56. Kumpu really got on the brakes much, much later, and just holds onto it for one more lap. Not giving up the position quite yet. Junior is definitely catching up with the back of Warner. These two, kind of a 2-1-2 versus the 111 car. Here's the close one. This is now starting to really, really heat up. Cruz, Toro Grosso, Znotins, Podens. All 4 really, really pushing. Can the young Alan Cruz keep it together with these absolute titans of sim racing behind them? It's almost scary how quick the cars come down through here. It is unbelievable just how quick they are all just flying down the mountain, essentially. Rosso got himself into a good position here. He's going to be in the tow. Can he do anything? But Alan Drake Cruz and Alex Torregrossa, both of them up on their lap times. They are both improving at the moment. If anything, Alan Drake is now starting to pull away a little bit. Can he do anything here? No, he can't. Once again, they go through the chase, and no one is able to make an advantage. I think they might have to do the mean corner, just straight line off the Conrod straight to try and gain a position. They are so closely matched. Now, Josh Waring, we've just seen him jumping into the pits. Back conditions are now fast, so times could continue to keep coming down. Let's have a quick check in with our leaders. So Del Fante has now set the fastest lap of the race with a 2 minutes .605. Then we have Jardier coming up behind. Then we've got Walsingham, Barrier, Van Thielen, and Mikowski as well. Those drivers really starting to pull away just a little bit. I think Thomas as well actually is part of that sort of front group of cars that have managed to just break away from the pack. Speaking of Thomas, here we are, car number 28, sandwiched between Mikowski in the 11 and Remy Papin in the 66 Mustang. Sliding their way absolutely down through the S's, absolutely on the maximum and beyond the perfect adhesion that was using the slide to keep the car going through the turns. Can Thomas do anything here? What is going to be better in a straight line? Three monsters of speed, these cars. The Aston, though, looking like got the most legs at the moment. Nothing able to be done there. Cruz as well, still holding on to 9th place. He's got Torregrossa right behind him, and Snottins and M. Podens. One small slip, and there will be a lot of changes of position. But for now, Cruz is doing a fantastic job in that number 15. Hold back the flood behind, and as well you can see the teammates, car number 97 and 44 of Blizzard and Humble, just starting to come into view. The two of them still running fairly close together as well. Here we go, up at the front. Mikowski looking under attack from Thomas. Can he do anything into turn 2? No, he can't. Comes a bit of a procession over the top. Oh, it was where did Cruz go? We lost. What happened to Cruz there? Cruz dropped right back. We're going back 30 seconds. Do we see? So this was onto the mountain, onto Mountain Straight. What happened for him to lose all those positions suddenly? Either my timing board just threw a wobbly or something happened there. So this is coming up towards Quarry Bend. What happens here? He was still in the pack. Very strange. For some reason, he wasn't appearing on my screen. So I apologise. I was thinking that Alan Drake had suddenly lost a load of positions. But no, Alan Drake Cruz still very much holding on to 9th place. I think I was having a little bit of a brain wobble there. So I do apologise to everyone at home. Probably thinking to themselves, hang on, what on earth is he talking about? Further back, we've got, who's this? So Kaz Lucas in that slightly damaged, I say slightly heavily damaged Ford being chased down. Oh, and in fact, off he goes. Kevin Niles, I think, nudged him and then gave back the position, but now trying to go side by side and in fact loses a position himself. And round goes, I think that must have been Loverink. I believe that was Loverink. No, it wasn't. It's all got a bit mad. Who was that? That was Salon. That was Salon. We're going to go back again. Lots of replays this evening. Trying to get a bit of an... Oh, there we go. Timing screen catches up to it. So there we go. That's where the Mustang got a bit of a nudge first time round. Given space. Then they try and go around the outside of it. Solan tries to take full advantage to go around and ends up getting clipped then by Niles and is rotated coming down the hill. Oh, sorry, the mountain. And a bit of a rubbish spot to try and get going again. Wasn't able to get the car to just spin immediately. Holds the brakes as cars come flying down, but has managed to get going again, but down into 31st place now, and they'll probably be a little bit upset about that one. So that little group continuing on. Gaz Lucas in the injured car, Kevin Niles in the slightly scuffed up 444. Buzov doing a good job of trying to keep on the back of him and maintaining pressure. Couldn't quite take advantage of the little incident that went on at the top of the hill, but did keep himself out of trouble. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just keep yourself out of trouble. We've also got the 115 car now joining the fray. So another car gets on the back of this queue. That's the one going on here. This is the battle for 20... Well, I say the battle for 22nd place, but essentially it's the battle for 21st and 20th all at the same time. Matt York swamping onto the back of the Ferrari. We should be able to do... There it is, over the rear wing of the car number 290. And you can see the way the Mustang just has such epic pace in a straight line. Can he do anything down the hill? Car number 187 we've just seen go yellow at the top of the hill, but Matt York has made it through. Car number 187, we'll see if we can catch them. That was Vidic at the top of the hill. What happened here? Thought we were going to see a wall strike there, but not quite. What happens? It's going towards Skyline. Oh, a bit too much inside curb. Goes wide. All things considered, very, very lucky escape that time round. Could have been a lot worse. And some incidents now starting to come in. So we are starting to see some bits and pieces happening. We're going to jump on board. So there you go. You can see there's a 45-second penalty for Christens Podens. 45-second penalty and 4 licence points. Good lord, that's a lot for car number 69. Podens is responsible for causing a pile-up in turn 3 by hitting car 52 multiple times on the throttle. All other cars behind reacted well, in brackets, enough to evade or lessen impact. So there we go. Kristen Podens is going to be the one. 45-second penalty for that incident. And obviously the stewards have reviewed it and he was not on the brakes. He was still on the throttle and continued to push the car that was already starting to spin. So not what Podens would have wanted. He was battling it up for 13th place and doing quite well at the time, but obviously 45-second penalty has come along. There was a lot of drivers involved. I'm not even going to try and let's do it. Car number 223, 77, 256, 44, 187, 16, 524, 78, 100, 52, 444, 290, 111, 1, 34, 999, 966, 369, 398. All of those cars involved, and that is why it's such a hefty penalty, because so many cars were affected that time round. About 13 minutes of this hour-and-a-half race done. Just someone there saying, how many cars weren't on that list? I know, I probably should have just read the ones that weren't involved. There was probably only 5 at the front, wasn't there? I think that's how that group at the front managed to get away like they did. So, seeing a little shout out for Blizzard. Let's get Blizzard on. Blizzard sort of running in this pack now, has got himself past Podens on the road as well. Podens, obviously, with that 45-second penalty, looks to be trying to come back against Blizzard, but not sure he'll be able to. Going to be in a very strong position there when they go down the Conrod Straight. This is where the McLaren should be able to just eke out a little bit of an advantage down through the twisties. mid-engine, low-slung car. He'll be desperate to try and get onto the back of Toro Rosso and maybe get a little bit of a tow. This is going to be the bit, though. Can Blizzard hold off Podens down the straight? He'll obviously gain the position back when it comes to the pit stops. But here it comes. Here comes the Ford. That V8 thundering away, coming through that slight kink. And they now come down towards the chase. And nothing Podens can do there to gain the position. Does close up ever so slightly. Really, what Blizzard is going to want is going to want Humble to try and get up on the back of them and apply some pressure to the back of Podens. That will force him to go defensive, and he won't be able to be attacking quite as much. But for the moment, looking over the rear wing, Podens does look like every time they get onto a slight straight, there is the bit of an advantage. And there's another big straight coming up, and it's the uphill one. So straight out the corner, Blizzard does have the advantage, but now you can see the gap between the rear wing and the front of that Mustang starting to come down. Are we going to see anything towards turn 2? I don't think the Mustang's going to be quite there in time. And no, he is not. He has to hold on back in 13th place for just a little bit longer, but an absolutely fantastic race so far. So, about 25 minutes of the race done, and as someone has just said, yeah, lots and lots going on in this race. Bathurst always gives us absolutely fantastic racing. Just while we're at this moment, a couple of blue flags flying there. I think there'll be obviously a back marker somewhere in amongst this lot. I want to give a quick shout out to our main sponsor, which is Driver 61, offering driver training. And also, I believe they do, well, they do coaching, seminars, all sorts of things. Very, very nice. All information you could ever want about Driver 61 in the bio below this video, in the description, sorry. Also, there is... Oh, 30 minutes rain starts. There we go. Just sorry, just had to quickly come out and say it. It's one of my tier 2 drivers jumping into the pit, into the chat, I believe. They were just asking, when does the rain start? 30 minutes time. Around that kind of time. That might just be the beginning of drizzle. You never know that weather can change when it's that far away. But continuing on with the old sponsorship bits and pieces, big shout out to our patrons. If you would like to join our Patreon, and you get to be behind the scenes a little bit of the AOR community, you also get to be involved in the vote for circuits. And in fact, our madmen in the Discord decided to vote Snetterton, which is next round, round 4, into the mix. So God knows what possessed them to do that. It might have been a case of just all of them do particularly like it and wanted to make sure they had a track where they could shine a bit of a light. But there we go. But yeah, if you fancy joining that, do sign up below. Again, everything in the description below this video. And obviously a link to our Discord as well. Great community, great racing, slightly more light-hearted than some of the other big names. Obviously still some fantastic racing, but the community is very much sort of, well, it's community-based. It's just, you know, all for the fun of it. Oh, big slide for Van Thielen there. Goodness gracious, how on earth he held on to that one, I have absolutely no idea. I imagine that's a bit of a Code Brown moment. Lots of opposite lock being used to keep the car in the straight line and under control before heading down through Skyline, and now continuing on down the mountain. Can he maintain it down towards Forest Elbow? Yeah, a little bit of a scuff of the wall there. Barrier looking very, very racy indeed. So, Kristen Podens is no longer chasing after the back of Blizzard, but is now being chased down by Humble. Both these McLarens so, car number 69, the double 4 of Sky, sorry, Humble, not Sky. Just about holding on. I mean, I'm seeing someone in the chat saying about, are we worried about Laguna Seca staying in permanent qualifying when it comes to that one? In all my years, I've never had the issue. I've had plenty of the ACC sniper going off. Lots of them going off. It just gets louder and longer every single time. But, you know, I haven't ever come across that one, so fingers crossed. Oh, car number 11. I've just spotted car number 11, yellow flag. So what happens there? Let's see if we can find car number 11. That was Bukowski. That was Bukowski. So where has he ended up? He is tumbling down the order very quickly. We're going to go back 30 seconds, see if we can catch it. So this was the squabble going on. Oh! Gets a bit of a clip from one of the Mustangs, and round they go. And now I imagine that car carrying some serious damage. Trying to safely rejoin, but again, not going to be able to do it in one turn. Nearly beaches themselves. Oh. And now here comes one of the one of the AMG Mercedes to come whizzing on past. Not what they would have wanted, down into 15th place now. And that car, no doubt, is carrying some serious damage. It got quite the clip and then ended up in the wall. Halowitz for Team Shumi Skins has now got the, oh my god, the ever-charging Matt York getting himself up into 20th place from the back of the grid. This is another place, though. Halowitz is going to have the Mustang breathing down his neck as they come down the straight. Again, this is where the Mustang seems to have a huge advantage. Look at the closing speed on that thing. Absolutely mad. Matt York, obviously on a bit of a promise, and is absolutely pushing to get to the line as quickly as possible. So we are now 1/3 of the way through the race. Hour left to go. As I said, this is a 90-minute race. Normally we do the 60 minutes during the Sprint Cup, but we also do a 90-minute round. And this is it here at the absolute epicenter of Australian motorsport. And I'm sure there's an Australian out there now seething in rage, and I say there's somewhere else, but in my mind, Bathurst is the big boy when it comes to Australia. It's just everyone knows Bathurst. There's such amazing things going on there. Again, you can see the way the Mustang closes up towards turn 2. Halowitz looks a little bit jumpy. I'm not sure what's going on there. That might not be anything to do with him. That might just be, whatever reason, bit of netcode going on, possibly. But Matt York is certainly looking like the faster of these two drivers. And actually, last time out, he was significantly quicker, nearly half a second a lap quicker than Halowitz. So Matt York, this is his first race with us this season. He missed rounds 1 and 2, is coming back with an absolute bang. He also carried over a qualifying ban, I believe, from last season. So being his first race of this season, no qualifying. So I think he was second from the back. And now finds himself up inside the top 20, and it is a really, really good run. Ooh, a little bit unsettled there, but he's much, much closer this time. Again, Matt York closing in on the back of the Ferrari. Don't think he's going to be close enough again to do anything, but he is still pushing hard. Doing everything in his power to try and catch up with them. Right, let's have a little bit of a jump back up the order. Michael Thomas still racing, and he's got Remy Papin, car number 66, right behind him. Oh, Alan Drake Cruz. Even closer racing going on with Alan Drake Cruz. Just about holding off Snottins. I think someone's saying there might have been an incident between car number 44 and 69. They have split up fairly significantly. Didn't see anything at the time, though. So I think we will just we won't try and jump back and try and find something that might not really be there. So for now, though, we will stick on with this one. Cruz versus Snottins. Snottins looking very, very quick, sneaking up behind the BMW. Digital Racing Systems Esports. You can just see the difference in cars. This is what I love about GT3 racing, the fact that you can have like a great big saloon car like the BMW up against a fully built, well, sports car, supercar that is the McLaren. Oh, car number 44. We now have car number 44 has come to a halt. What has happened there? We'll try and find out what that was. That has appeared on the old timing screen. Come on, they're tumbling down the order, so they're moving in my list. That is Humble's gone to the pits. We're going to go back 30 seconds to see what happens. Come on, cameras. Sort yourselves out. So this is down the Conrod. Oh. And just appeared to pull over and lose control of the car. And has come to a stop in possibly the scariest place. Somehow, well, I'm not sure what happened there. Bit of an odd one. Maybe we might hear something from the team on that one. But that was very, very strange. Not sure what quite happened there. Track's finally gone optimum. But we're obviously facing towards some wet. Just seeing someone there saying about possible wheel issues. Yeah, maybe a wheel issue or a hardware issue could have very easily been. Up the inside goes Vining. Sorry, Clifford. Clifford gets himself past Vining. Kind of a 999. Doing very nicely here. Pushing absolutely fantastically onwards. Van Thielen now set the fastest lap of the race. And what is he putting in? He's putting in a... Oh, there we go. Just found out. Something popped up on his screen and he couldn't see. So, real shame. Right, Kristen Podence does come into the pits. Obviously, he has the pit stop plus a 45-second time penalty. So, he will have to wait and see. Yeah, one of those things you don't have to put up with in real life is the idea of a random pop-up. I suppose what you might get is the bonnet suddenly whipping up and blocking your view. Still not what you would have wanted. So let's have a little jump back towards the top of the grid and see what's going on here. So Eric Del Fate leads the race and has done so in a dominant style in the same way that we saw at round one. Really, really pushing well. Giardier in second place, who is slowly being reeled in by Aidan Walsingham. They are technically both Veloce drivers, but neither of them will give up without a fight. Aidan Walsingham, as we just discussed, here he is in the Veloce Vexed McLaren SRO livery. Taking part in some big old races this year is Aidan, so very nice to see him still with us here at Apex Online Racing. Van Thielen running in fourth, as we said, is now the fastest driver out there with a 2 minutes .262. And Valentine Barrier in 5th place. Michael Thomas 6th. Remy Papin just behind him in 7th place. Snottins in 8th, who is being chased down by Alan Drake Cruz. And then we've got a nice little battle going on here. We've got Toro Grossa in 10th, and we've got Blizzard trying to get themselves up through past Toro Grossa. See, there's a back marker between them, but this nice little one going on here, this is a nice one to keep an eye on. Right, so not only is it going to start raining in around 10 minutes, but it is going to continue to rain harder as well towards the end of the race. So most people, I would imagine, are going to try and hold on as late as possible to do the pit stop so they can just go over to wets. Last thing you want to do is take a pit stop now, continue on slicks, and then have to pit a second time just to put wets on. So I think most people are going to push it. Again, the last thing you want to do is pit now and put wets on, because you'll overheat them and ruin them before it even starts to rain. Torregrossa does do significantly better through that final sector and does pull away. Aidan Walsingham has made it past. He's made it past Jardier. When did that happen? Let's go back and see. He must have done it. Was that through Murray's or the chase? He must have done it somewhere back there, but we missed that one. So busy keeping an eye on other battles that we missed that one completely. Jard's obviously not putting up too much of a fight, letting his teammate or sort of team friend come through. I say Aidan needs to be in front of Delfante to regain the lead in the championship. Those two with the exact same amount of points. One had a first, one had a third, and the same the other way around as well. So those two absolutely in deadlock, and still with 50 minutes of the race left to go, there is an absolute chance that Aidan can pull this back. He's already 0.2 up on his lap, so he is really, really starting to find some pace. So where on earth Aidan has found that pace from, I have no idea. We are going to be facing rain very, very soon. But it's definitely going to be a wet end to the race. It's going to be really unlucky depending on where you are on the circuit when the rain starts to fall. Obviously, if you're coming down the Conrod and the rain starts to fall, great. You've only got a couple of corners to get through and then you can get the pits and get some wets. But if you are here and just starting to begin your climb up the mountain, then that could be a real, real issue. One of the Ferraris coming out of the pits there. Jonathan Clifford, Vining, these two squabbling it out. Clifford just about in front. Vining looks to the inside. Can he do anything? He just gets the nose up there. Clifford left room, but Vining now got the overlap. Who should have the inside towards Murray's. He's going to try and keep it there. They're both really late on the brakes. Who can dare go brake latest? Through goes the BMW, but gets unsettled. He might actually now have lost the run down into turn one. Clifford did have a little look to the inside, but backs out, decides to stay behind. Might be a better place to be. He'll be in the tow going up the hill now. Vining seemingly has broken free and is now on a little bit of a push. Because we've got cars in the pits. The old timing board throwing a lovely wobbly for me. Love it when it does that. Villerber running in 20th place at the moment. The QKS Sim Racing team, KUNOS-16. Nice looking livery that actually. It's nice little accents around the lights. Does look very nice. So during this pit stage, people do seem to have backed off significantly. Lots and lots of cars in the pits. Kaz Lucas, Podens, Humble, Buzov, Josh Waring, and obviously the Audi that we saw earlier on joined into the pits much, much earlier than anybody else. Right, big ones now. Valentine Barrier, who was one of our leading drivers, now comes into the pits. He is the first one to jump in. Going to be interested to see what they do tyres-wise. That was a very, very quick pit stop. We might be able to see what we're looking at. They're still slicks, because they've got the yellow banding on them. So that's still a slick tyre. So Barrier deciding to go with slicks. Bear in mind we've got rain coming very soon. So whether or not he hasn't put enough fuel in and has had to come in, simply running out of fuel and has had to come in for whatever reason. But for now, Barrier has completed his mandatory stop, but it was very, very quick. We'll have to wait and see on that one, I think. If he doesn't, that definitely slick tyres. It had the yellow writing on the outside of it, which is the usual telltale. So, close battles. Vining has very much pulled away from Clifford. Matt York, running in 16th place at the moment, is trying to catch up with this duo of cars. He was probably going to hope they were squabbling it out for a little bit longer, but they did manage to sort out their differences quite quickly. So jumping on with our leader. And Del Fante deciding to stay out. Going to be very interested to see who actually does end up coming into the pits. Who sort of pulls that trigger. Obviously, we saw Barrier do it, and he's now got himself all the way down into 11th place. Now, he should gain ground once people start to pit. But, again, this weather could affect whether or not he gets any positions back. There's a little dad pun there for you all at home. For the moment, Del Fante is looking like the man to beat, really. He's really, really flying. He's broken in to the 1:59s. We are sub 2 minutes now. With about 45 minutes of racing on those tyres as well. That is really good going. And there we go. Aston jumps out the way under blue flags. Probably one of the safest places to try and do it here. That has lost Del Fante quite a lot of time though, and someone who hasn't lost any time is Aidan Walsingham, who is up on his lap. So technically, oh, he's really up on his lap. Goodness gracious, he has gained so much over the space of this lap. Bet he's thinking to himself, goodness me, what on earth happened there? Del Fante is 0.7 of a second, so 7/100ths of a second down on his lap. Aidan was actually up on his lap until very, very recently, getting towards the end of the Comrade. So not sure what happened there. Oh, car number 100, we've just seen with the yellow flag. Car number 100 is Tadic, who has left the server. So he has gone, he is retired from the race. And while all that was going on, Del Fante has come into the pit. This is the big one. Jardier as well has come into the pit. It's still looking dry out there at the moment. Let's have a little bit of a look. That's the splitter cam. No rain there, and definitely no rain hitting the windscreen of Walsingham's car. So Aidan has inherited the lead but has not pitted yet. This has felt like the world's longest 10 minutes, hasn't it? Oh, Aidan getting a little bit crossed up there. I think he made it past 2 cars there. That was very, very quick. Managed to get past the red Ferrari as well. 2 cars jumping out of the way. And here's the rain! Here is the rain. And if ever there was an awful time for Aidan to hit the rain, it was right now. Del Fante, can we see if he's got yellow walls or not as he goes by? Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's gone onto wets, and he may have chosen the perfect moment to go onto wets. Let's see if Walsingham can keep this together. The track has gone green already. It looks like it's going to be a deluge all the way to the end of the race. 42 minutes of racing left to go. We have rain for at least 30 of those. Walsingham still leading on the road, but it's really going to be of who is losing more. Is it a case that he's losing more on his wets come on the outlap, or who's losing it now? I think Del Fante probably called that perfectly. You know, God knows what was going on. Maybe a bit of a rain dance into the pits. But here comes Aidan trying to get his braking done. Oh, and we've just gone in behind the building. There he is. He makes it in. He does make it in. So the one to keep an eye on is going to be Del Fante. Where is Del Fante in relation? Still coming down the mountain at the moment. So, Delphante, down the mountain. It'll be interesting to see if he comes out in front of Aiden. I can only imagine he will. Lots and lots of cars coming in. Thielen, Thomas, Papin, Alan Drake Cruz as well is into the pits. So where is Aiden? Is he moving yet? He is not. Car number 71 is not quite there yet. Just going through the final turn. It's going to be I think it's going to be a bit of a drag race up towards here. This is going to be super close on exit, I think. So there's Delphante going round. And Aiden is released, and he has gained an absolute chunk of time right on the back of Delphante. So there was me saying Delphante made the perfect call, but I don't think he did. I think he lost so much time on that in-lap that it ended up almost costing him a whole load of space. And realistically, you would have thought that it was the perfect time for Delphante to come in. He has got 1 lap more of tyre pressure and temperature in there. But it's going to be a real hard challenge to try and get up through and hold off Delphante, I think. I mean, hold off Walsingham. So, just under 40 minutes of the race left to go. And these two are sort of our provisional leaders. Where is Barrier in all this? Because it's showing him as way out in front. Oh, of course, he pitted much, much earlier, didn't he? And so on the road, he is well in at front. But pretty sure he was on slick still. You can still see the yellow banding. This is going to be one. If Barrier can somehow manage to stay on wets, stay on dries this entire race, I mean, 1 would be absolutely ridiculous, but 2 would be absolutely ridiculous if he manages to win it. He's already sliding big time. Is he coming in? No, he's not. He's staying out. So, going to be interesting to see what Barrier does here. It's seems like a bit of a losing game, really. You can already see that car slipping and sliding around. Even if the rain does stop in 30 minutes, he's only going to get sort of 8 minutes of non-rain, and the track doesn't instantly go dry. It will take a little while. And I can only feel like his temperatures will be plummeting on those tyres. Jumping back on board at the moment. Who is lapping quicker between Walsingham and... well, this actually is technically their first flying lap, so we don't really know the lap times until they've completed another. But that gap certainly does look mighty, mighty close. Whole bunch of cars into the pits at the moment. One that isn't going on in the pits is Hallowitz versus Lovering. Team Shumi Skins, car number 38. As we said earlier on, absolutely stunning livery on that car. Although it is looking a little bit more scratched than it did at the beginning of the race. The snake has definitely... oh, sorry, the dragon's lost some scales. But looking very good, looking very strong down towards the chase. Holds off Lovering. Looking to gain positions over a few drivers, but now down towards Murray's. Really good run by Lovering, but he is forced to go to the outside. Is he going to be able to get a bit of a switchback, possibly on the exit? He does get the run. I think these two are still running slick tyres, as on they're not then, which they should be on wets at this point, I would presume. We'll get a bit of an idea as they come past on the side. Yes, both drivers running wets. So this will be just down to driving now. Ferrari versus Ferrari. Black versus red. If you live in the UK, you definitely would have seen the red car and the black car overtaking on the sign. That's exactly what we're doing here. Someone needs to take a photo and then start putting them on the street signs all around the UK. Looking very, very strong now, though, is Lovering after getting through. Hallowitz is going to have to try and go... oh, a bit of a wall clip there. and would not have done him any favours. Decent old wall clip. And seeing a little bit of love in the chat for Aidan Walsingham, car number 13. Yes, who is chasing after the back of Del Fante. Oh, there we go. Look, Toro Grosso, Barrier, and Warner all into the pits, and that is going to be a real sting to the end of this tail for Valentine Barrier, who sadly pitted just before it had started to rain and came back out with slick tyres on. Obviously was hoping the weather was going to maybe hold off a bit longer, but had to pit for whatever reason, presuming that's going to be a fueling issue, had to pit, and now has left himself dropping down the order. And it's not what he would have wanted. His fast driver Barrier, and should be able to get himself back up a few positions, but as you can see, basically 3/4 of the circuit is covered by the field, so it's not a case of getting through lots of cars all at once. You are going to have to pick your battles, get through, and then continue on for a little while of hot lapping and try and get it. But you've got 35 minutes left to do it, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Currently down in 10th place according to my timing board. So it's looking like it's going to stay fairly wet all the way to the end. Track has gone damp now. So the water continues to build on the circuit. Aidan has a little look to the inside. I think he wants to try and get this done before the track goes full wet and you end up with this horrible offline where you can't really gain as much potential, where there's puddles sort of building up off the racing line. Looks to the inside there at Murray's. Can't quite do it there though. Pushing hard on the throttle. Can he do it? And I'm just seeing someone as well there saying about Matt York. Yeah, Matt York up to 15th place, car number 65. What an absolutely fantastic rejoin into the series. He is absolutely flying. Again, left us for a little while, left us for the first 2 races, wasn't able to attend, but is now here and looking better than ever. Obviously really at home in that great big Ford Mustang. Probably reminds him of the Bentley he used to run quite often. And that was back in the days before the custom BOP, where things were a bit more balanced. He was just a madman trying to drive the old Bentley. Probably would have been the perfect vehicle this evening here with all this wet. Aidan a little bit unsettled though. Coming through this park sector. Again, you can see the backs of the cars just unsettling. In fact, you can really see Aidan's car was fully sort of sliding through there. Oh, car number 256 is off. Which one was car number 256? Let's see if we can find them quickly on the list. That was Kumpu. Going to go back 30 seconds. What happens here? This is through the chase. Appears to be on wet, so he's behind Matt York. This is down into Murray's. Oh, clips the grass on the outside edge and does rotate the car, luckily avoiding any contact with the wall, and does manage to get himself going reasonably quickly. But yeah, I think that was just a little bit of a outside tyre clipping the grass, or maybe a wet painted surface just as he was trying to get on the brakes, and that has rotated the car and sent it round. Oh, multiple battles going on here. Hanowitz versus Gardinetto. McLaren versus Ferrari, and we've actually seen a few cars sneak through. Bosca's got past Hanowitz as well. That car obviously not feeling particularly nimble in the wet. Might have gone for a full dry setup, and now the car is probably as skittish as a granny on ice this morning. Say this morning because it's technically 7 AM in game. And I would say there's going to be we should be witnessing a lovely sunrise, but there's not much sun out there now. And Hanowitz looked very, very unsettled there. Gardinetto really, really looking like the aggressor in this race. Well, being asked to put on the 97 versus the 72, but there's a big old gap between those drivers. There's a about a second between them. When they get closer, we'll put them on. That's what we do. We wait till they're really close, and we try and do it. Apologies if there's a little bit of background noise coming through. For some reason, a very low-flying helicopter again going for my house, for whatever reason. But Gardenetto still keeping this battle alive, chasing after the back of Hanowitz. Bear has got his own battle starting to loom in the background as well. Delebra looking very, very racy. And in fact, Hanowitz has had to go proper defensive there. Gardenetto is going to be trying to push up the hill. And in fact, I think we're looking at moves happening now. So there we go. Gardenetto is managing to get past Hanowitz. Can they get it done? And can they get it closed off? Goes across. Then gets on a break. Very, very brave. Trying to cover off that inside line and also then having to outbrake and try and get up the inside. That was always going to be a risky manoeuvre. Pulling in front of someone and then anchoring up the brakes can always be a bit risky. But somehow managing to get it to work. So Gardenetto does go through and is now chasing after... appears to be Bosk. I believe that was Bosk. We'll double check. Yes, it is. Bosk with the G-Liga Esports car is looking fairly battered and scraped, though. Not looking like the happiest of vehicles out there. I'm going to go up to the drone cam to try and get a bird's eye view on all four of these drivers. Ferrari versus McLaren versus Ferrari versus Lamborghini. And Delebra just... ooh, for a minute I thought he dropped off the back, but he hasn't. He was just obscured by a big tree. All of them now heading down the Conrod Straight. Who is going to have the advantage here? No real big movers and shakers here. No big gains being made by anybody. Chris Warner looking to have a nice little battle now, though. I think he's having a little battle. Maybe not. Who is that car right behind him? That is a Ferrari right behind him. And I think that was just the timing boards having a little bit of a wobble, because I don't think this is a battle going on. There's no one around him in a Ferrari that should be a close fight. Del Fante versus Walsingham, though. Here's a close fight, and it is coming out, and they're trying to go toe-to-toe. That's down the Comrade, down towards the chase. And he goes to the outside, not able to do it. Has to relinquish the position. Jumps back in behind Del Fante. Oh, that's the wrong one. Come on, cameraman. There it is. You can see over the rear wing, Aidan Walsingham looming in the background now, trying to gain that position. Still raining out there. You can see the wipers blaring and going from this camera angle. A little bit hard to see just because of the amount of spray being flown off the back of the car. But if we go onto this camera, you can see out the window, and then you can see in that rear view camera, you can see Aidan Walsingham pushing up behind, trying to gain the advantage, see if he can push through. Del Fante looking a little bit unsettled there. Walsingham will be trying to gain any position he can, any advantage he can as well. And you can see now, closest right up into the braking zone. So our leaders now, Del Fante versus Walsingham. They are first and second here on the track, and they are joint first in the championship. Whoever crosses the line in front of the other comes out of race 3 leading the championship. It is a big, big race. This is all on the line now. Obviously, still got a fair few races to go, but they want to be in the lead if possible as it comes to it. A little bit of a reminder. So we've got Bathurst this week. Then we are off to Snetterton next time round. Then Valencia, Laguna Seca, and finishing up at the Red Bull Ring. I think it's the first time AOR would have been there with ACC. So exciting times. New circuit to learn my way around, making sure I know how all the cameras work and what looks best. But Delphante doing a fantastic job at the moment of holding off Walsingham. But as we saw, Walsingham definitely does have some pace and is going to be looking to try and get past, probably up the mountain straight. Delphante is looking defensive, moves back to the racing line. Who can get the better run here through turn one? Hell's corner. Aiden did look to have a really good lap there. Looking so strong. And that front splitter cam, you can see, is catching up with the back of the Honda. He's going to have to go one way or the other. He goes to the left. He's going to be on the outside for turn two. What can he do here? He's going to try and run the whole way. Can't quite do it. Uses all the exit curve as we flick over to the drone cam. Delphante, I imagine, the inside of that. Oh, car number 38, we just had a yellow flag. Car number 38, where was that? Ah, that is Hanowitz. Oh, the Shumi Skins car. Shumi Skins car, apologies. So that's coming towards Skyline. Is it assisted or is it on his own? Oh, hits the grass, locks the inside, brakes up. And yeah, sadly, that's some pretty terminal damage. Did manage to get the car turned around very quickly, though. They'll be pleased about that. Managed to get it to go. So for the moment, Delphante holding on to first position. Walsingham multiple times has got himself up beside them. Here we go, down towards Murray's. He's not going to want to try and go all the way around the outside, or is he? He gets late on the brakes. Tries to close it off. Can't quite do it. He's flashing the lights now at Delphante. That is not going to work. Delphante is not going to pay any attention. He has no need to get out the way. If anything, he is going to want to try and just hold on until Van Thielen catches right up onto the back of him. And he might be able to make something work there. If he can wait for Van Thielen to get there, then that is going to be a huge, huge advantage for him. If he can hold him back and force Aiden to go defensive, that would be a race-winning move, I think. But at the moment, he is having to do everything. Oh, Aiden Walsingham obviously using 11/10 of the circuit there. And clipped a little bit of the wall on the exit of turn two. Don't think that's going to be enough to really cause any kind of damage, but it is not what you want. It gets inside your head. You know you're pushing way beyond what you normally would do. These two, I think, really are sort of giving it 11/10. You saw the pair of them drifting up the top of the hill. I can only imagine it's as wet with sweat inside the car as it is with rain on the outside of the car at the moment. 22.5 minutes left to go. 2/3 of this race are done. Delphante still looking to try and get away, but Walsingham is certainly starting to look like the stronger of the drivers here. He is applying pressure every single lap. There has been not a single moment of rest for Delphante. He is having to keep his elbows right out, trying to do everything he can. It's going to stay wet all the way to the end now. We're not going to see any dry. Aiden now looks to the outside. Can he do anything? He's trying to go round. He's going to want to try and hold on to it. No, he can't. Is he going to try and get a switch back? He's going to should have a better run. Delphante will stay to the left and stay defensive, I can only imagine. But they are so close. But as I was saying, Van Thielen now starting to show up on the scene. Can he do anything here? This time up the mountain straight. Someone asking how Tadic is getting on. Samuel Tadic has actually retired from the race. Car number 100. So, not sure what happened there earlier on, but yeah. Well, it's saying he's a lap down, but according to my screen, I cannot even select him. So that usually means he's left the server. So that is where Tadic has gone, sadly. Well, while these two are squabbling it out, the track has gone fully wet. And in fact, now Aiden is looking like he's starting to make mistakes. Junior versus Chris Warner. This one is starting to heat up as well as they're coming towards the end of the lap. This is the battle for 11th place. About half a second between them. Can he do anything here? He looks to the inside of turn 1. Not able to make that quite work. Got to keep an eye on that front end battle as well as these two. I'm going to jump on the dash of Junior's Run DJC Racing 212 BMW. He's going to have to look to the outside. Rain light flashing on Warner's Mercedes. Yeah, short shifting, super short shifting to try and stop those rear tyres lighting up there on the BMW. Turbo engines can be a little bit skittish in the wet. You suddenly get that surge of power from the turbo. Doing very well. He has got looks like a Ferrari coming up behind him as well. Not sure which car that is. I think that is one of the ones that's off the lead lap. Whoa, looking at the skyline there. That's a brave move to try and go for into skyline. It's always we're gonna go here though. You know, we have to get back to the beginning because there was nothing between these two. Timing board was saying 0 thousandths of a second between them, so we've had to jump back quickly to this one. Are we going to finally see a move? This is where Aiden wants to be, right on the back, nipping at the heels of the postman like an angry Jack Russell is Aiden Wilson to Del Fante. And again, looks to the outside for turn 2, can't quite get it. I think he's just trying to make the car do things in the wet that normally it would try and do in the dry. And it is just not quite able to get it to do what he wants. But he is still looking so aggressive. He's desperate to get past. And then Chris Warner and Junior, they have broken apart a fair bit at this point. Michael Thomas having a little bit of a squabble there with Papin. And then we've got, I think that's a back marker. Aston Martin, I'm not sure which one that is. Oh, I think that was the Apex 1 car from earlier that we saw take an absolute battering at turn 2. With our leaders as they come down the mountain, they've now got the Schumi Skins car in front of them, that Ferrari, and now this is a three-way battle for pole position. Del Fante, Walsingham, Van Thielen. Bosk picks up a 20-second penalty as well. That was involving car number 256290 on lap 18. 20-second time penalty for car number 290. Damien Bosk is responsible for causing a moderate avoidable collision in the hairpin. Oh, a little bit of a rub there from Aiden. He's finally got an overlap. Again, he's going to be on the outside into the final turn. He does outbrake. Can he keep himself there? A little bit of opposite lock. No, he can't. And now he finds himself being taken up the inside by Van Thielen. And Van Thielen's going to try and do something into turn 1. He is there. And so now, oh, a bit of a bump between the two of them. I thought there was almost going to be another bump as well. But those two very much elbows out racing. I think that was simply a case of probably the cars getting a little bit unsettled in the wet, running the curbs. These two really squabbling, and you can see Aiden going for it. Again, he's just trying to make that car do things in the wet that we just don't know are possible, but goodness gracious, the skill of these drivers is absolutely beyond anything I've normally seen. They've somehow managed to do, well, 1 hour and 15, and they're still done. And they're still going. But Walsingham has now dropped into 3rd. Yeah, I think they're just seeing in the chat there, someone saying that looked like a double move into turn 2 from Van Thielen. It was slightly suspect, I have to admit. So what will go on with that one, I'm not sure. But yeah, it looks slightly suspect. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, just jumping on board with Remy Papin, who is suddenly playing the techno music intensifies, or the electro music intensifies. A little bit of deja vu as he was sliding his way down the mountain. It looked like he was having quite a close battle, but actually that is the Apex 1 Aston Martin that we saw have an incident early on in the race. Back on board with Van Thielen, who has pulled away slightly from Walsingham. Well, here we go. Skylar Loverink is chasing after... In fact, no, he's being chased by Giardinetto. And Skylar Loverink going to be doing everything he can on that Gina Lessie eSports car to try and keep Giardinetto at bay. But that 115 McLaren is looking very, very spicy. Obviously, Bosch running in 23rd place is going to lose a bunch of places. That rate, the 20 seconds will be added to the end of his race. So that'll be a bit of a sting in the tail. But for now, Skylar Loverink seems to have pulled away a little bit. Let's jump on with possibly our biggest gaining driver, and that is Mr. Matt York, running in 14th place after starting from the back of the grid. Obviously served his qualifying penalty and has now got himself up into 14th place. Absolutely flying. What a welcome back to Tier 1 Apex Online Racing. Chris Warner and Junior. There's actually a Ferrari between the two of them. The car in 23rd place, which is Bosk, running a 20-second penalty. So it's saying they're much closer than they are, because that car is messing with the timing boards a little bit. So Loverink versus Giardinetto. $13 minutes of the race left to go. And I still think lots could happen here. In fact, let's jump back to the very front of the race. Del Fante, after managing to hold off Walsingham for absolutely ages, now has Jentel the Lentil Van Thielen right up his chuffer. He is right there. And as well, Giardier starting to come into the back into this battle a little bit as well. And I'm pretty sure we could see Thomas in the background of that shot, if I'm not mistaken. No, I was mistaken. That's a back marker back there we can see. But Giardier starting to reel these cars back in. Yeah, just seeing in the chat there, someone saying that Matt York's got to get driver of the day. Yeah, I think even at this point, I think he probably really does have to. He's done absolutely fantastically. Yes, there are other drivers that have also done very, very well here this evening. But all the way from the back of the grid up to here is pretty special stuff. Could still get ahead of Jonathan Clifford, but Clifford is not going to give up without a fight. Very fast driver is Jonathan Clifford. He's not just going to roll over and let Yorkie through. He will defend to the last. I know as soon as I move away, something is going to happen here. It's sort of the commentator's curse. I curse myself as a commentator. Is as soon as I move away, the action happens. Ah, so here we go. This battle now. I thought this was still a timing error. Warner versus Junior. The Ferrari that was between them has dropped away, and now Junior is starting to get onto the back of Warner. Oh, but Junior does definitely have a little bit of a clip of the wall there. Not what they would have wanted. I don't think Clifford's having a squabble. No, no, he's not. Chris Warner versus Junior, and then we've got that back marker sort of in the mix as well, which shouldn't affect the racing for these gentlemen whatsoever. But you never know. Oh, Ferrari getting way, way out of shape there. Got another one going on here. No, that's timing board. Because someone else is in the pit. Right, here we go. Junior now right on the back of Warner. I think it's just a case of that AMG Mercedes is just an absolute missile in a straight line. BMW not quite able to take advantage of it. I think the Beamer is maybe a little bit stronger through the twisties, but the Mercedes is very good at just hunkering down and getting it done in a straight line. Just under 10 minutes of the race left to go now. Not a great deal between these drivers. Matt York as well. Very, very close. Is that just a timing board for over wobbly though? We'll have to wait and see actually whether or not it's going to go. Oh, apparently Warner is under fueling. So he is trying to fuel save. He under fueled at the pit stop. So this could be interesting because that car essentially, if he's got his timings wrong, his calculations wrong, could either just conk out at the end of the race or is going to continue to get slower and slower. We're going to go back quickly now. Matt York has made his way past Jonathan Clifford. We'll quickly jump back on that replay and see what happened here. So this was up Mountain Straight. Here we go. The Mustang just has the legs in a straight line and does get through. Clifford doesn't put up too much of a defence. He knows there's nothing you can do in a straight line against a car that is just going quicker than you. Back to our lead battle. This is really starting to heat up now. Really, really close. What can happen here? Oh, and annoyingly, because of the way the replays work, we missed it. We're going to go back 30 seconds to see if we can catch it. So it was at turn one. Little bit of elbows out. And that tiny bit of elbows out. No, sorry, that was through Murray's. Tiny bit of elbows out through Murray's has put the tyres on the grass. There we go. Off he goes. And he's managed to get away with it. And so once the type, hopefully they're still going to be in the same order when the cameras decide to sort themselves out. But the top four battle looking very, very close. Come on, timing screen. Show us what we want to see. And yes, we do, but there's a mistake. Van Phelan getting onto the grass up through Park. And again, the car slides. So after now getting past Del Fante, I think he is just trying to open up the taps and try and get away a little bit. But it is so hard to do in this kind of weather. Del Fante, Walsingham, Jardier, all of the cars now absolutely sandwiched together. 7 minutes left on the clock, and it is all starting to heat up absolutely royally. Not even the shrimps and the barbies are this hot. And Jardier, a bit of a dark horse. We have barely brought you anything from Jardier really this evening. He's just kind of kept himself to himself. And now suddenly, out of nowhere, he is absolutely flying. And the drone cam doing absolutely wondrous jobs here. Aiden finally looking to Del Fante, looks to the inside. There's contact! And they both go flying. Both cars absolutely yeeted off the track then. Jards gains a position. So Jards gone from fourth now. Oh, sorry, my voice is completely gone. So Aiden... I mean, he'll be devastated about that. We're going to go back 30 seconds to see what we can sort of spot a little bit better. So this is the camera shot again as they come through on the kick. They just touch. So we're keeping an eye on what happened to Aiden. He bounces off the wall, manages to keep it going. Does he keep it out the second wall? Yes, he does. So now, after battling for the lead for what was pretty much the entire race, after that nudge between the two drivers, it is now ended up Jentel the Lentil Van Thielen in pole position for now. Now, then we got Jardier in second. Then it's Eric Delfante, and then it is Aidan Walsingham. And I imagine an absolute fire is lit in the belly of Delfante and Walsingham. I can only imagine the rage between the two of them. One of those things where it was kind of a little bit of a racing incident. Just one of those things, I think. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think it was a case of 2 into 1 doesn't go, but Aidan's really pushing the car now. Sort of going, I think it's beyond 11 tenths. I think it's almost 12 tenths at this point. He's really, really trying to get the car to do things that maybe the car's just not able to do. But for someone we really haven't seen that much of is Jardier, who now is running in second place after just being in the right place at the right time. Another one going on here as well, though. Warner versus Junior. This one's still raging on. About 4 3/4 minutes to go, and Chris Warner is currently still holding off Junior. These two have been fighting hard for a very long time. Matt York's got himself up into 13. So yeah, Matt York running in 13th place at the moment. We saw that earlier on actually against Jonathan Clifford. We did see that one. It's going to be an eye on this. Again, that's the timing board having a bit of a wobble as they come along the pit straight because there's cars in the pits. Oh, so there we go. Earlier on we were saying about the double move possibly from Van Thielen has been reviewed, and there's going to be sort of no penalty given, but Van Thielen has received an official warning for a very late and aggressive move on a straight. So I think if it had been lesser drivers around him, there may have been an incident, but I think it was the fact that it was these tippy-top boys that they all managed to just about keep it together. But there we go, he's been given an official warning. So if something else were to happen, I imagine it would be a very, very heavy hammer that would come down. It is still so wet out there, and in fact you can see Jardier really struggling to maintain any sense of control over that Aston Martin Veloce 2024 car. It's just about holding it together, but it is looking very, very skittish. And that time does appear to be coming down, just ever so slightly. The time between Jardier and Thielen is just creeping down a little bit. He was about 0.5 quicker last time round. So I think in the wet, this could still happen. Chris Warner is still holding off Junior. We jumped back on pretty much the exact same place we jumped on board with him last time, actually. There we go. Just a bit of team chat coming through. Jards is just screaming, "I can't stop." So presumably brakes are just not working anymore in that car. And probably the fact that it is absolutely sodden out there. It is full wet. Only way it can get worse is if it were to go to flooded. And at that point, there really is literally nothing you can do. But at the moment, with 1:55 on the clock, this could be mighty close. This might be the last lap. I think this is possibly going to be the final lap. So really, Van Thielen has to keep it going if he could do it. Jardier, 1 lap to hold on to second place. He'll be very pleased with that. Great position to get himself in the championship. And Delfante just needs to try and hold off. If he can hold off Walsingham, he'll come out in front of him in the championship. That is what he's really going to want. What can he do? Our leader still holding on to it. Blizzard, who for some reason was showing up as being within a second of somebody, is not within a second of somebody, but running in 10th place. A very respectable 10th place, to be fair, is Blizzard. Chris Warner definitely starting his final lap, and we're jumping on now, is still trying to hold off Junior. I think Junior's sort of looking a little bit ragged at this point. At the front, the gaps have started to open up a little bit. We're going to jump on board, though, with our possible winner here, Van Thielen, who is leading at the moment. 2-ish corners to go. Through the kink. Hard onto the brakes, down into the chase. Van Thielen, who we for a long time didn't think was going to win this, then came back absolutely out of nowhere and came flying through everybody. And also Jardier, who has done an absolutely fantastic job of keeping his nose very clean and coming through, and now brings it home in a very close second place. So after 90... Wait, is it going to go another lap? Or is that it? I'm so confused. Have they finished? It's not showing up. No. They crossed the line just at the moment. So they've got another lap to go. They literally crossed the line with fractions of a second. So one more to go, ladies and gentlemen. We thought it was going to be the end of it. Why on earth Thielen didn't lift, I have no idea. I think he literally could have just not even fully lifted. Could have probably just eked the throttle off a tiny little bit. But instead, now has another lap to try and survive. Jard's super close to the back. And this is exactly what Jardier would have wanted. He wants that one more lap. So will Del Fante. So, well, maybe not Del Fante, but Walsingham will want that one more lap. He'll be hoping for a mistake from drivers in front. Matt York still going. 13th place at the moment. This is just absolutely ballistic. I just cannot believe that we're going another lap. There's another one going. Don't think Aiden is going to catch Del Fante. This is what I'm more intrigued in, is the sheer pace of Jardier towards the end of this race. He is so quick in this final stint. I know he's apparently saying the Aston feels absolutely horrendous and it just will not stop. But fair play, he is absolutely wheeling this thing along. But the man of the evening, here it comes. Belgium Racing by Jentel Dives. Jentel Van Thielen, the Lentil, coming across the line in pole position here at Bathurst after an exceptional race. Jardier comes home in second. Then we see Del Fante comes home in third place. Aidan Walsingham fourth. Coming across the line now, and I feel it's only right that we have a bit of a ride along as they have a quick cool down. But it was a fantastic race. I mean, yeah, a bit of a warning came through for Thielen just on that very late move he made. But fair play to them. Matt York, we're going to jump back on board. This is a battle going on. He has suddenly come out of nowhere, and Junior and Warner, who were squabbling with each other, have suddenly got a Mustang that's just barged his way in like a bulldog. And is now very much part of the squabble, and he's already up to 12th place. He's dispatched Junior very, very quickly, and he's going to be pushing after the back of Warner. What can he do? This is going to be the one to go for. Can he do anything here? Not quite, but is he going to have a run for Murray's? We're going to stick with it. Everyone was so spaced out that this is the second pack coming across the line. Can he do anything in the final turn? He's not going to throw it all away here, I don't think. He won't go super aggressive, but he is trying to get a bit of a run. Don't think he's going to be able to, but 12th place for Matt York from the back of the grid is just absolutely bonkers driving. It has to be said. That is a real strong effort. Fernandez coming across the line now as well. Lots of cars sort of out of sequence. It's like saying Znottins and everyone is still out there racing. And they are. They're coming across the line now. Here we go. But this is cars, obviously, A couple of them lap down. But there we go. That is the bulk of everybody coming across the line. Van Thielen will be absolutely over the moon with that. They have fought as hard as anyone possibly could have to against some titans of sim racing to get themselves up here. Hopefully we are going to get some interviews here. Let's have a quick jump. Let's put us on a slightly prettier view, and then we can go from there. So while hopefully people jump into the comms booth, we'll move across to a slightly more pretty scene. And we'll have a run through the grid just while we're here as well. Why not? Let's do it. So, timetable. So, as they crossed the line, Van Thielen in first place, Jardier in second, Delfante third, Walsingham fourth, Thomas in fifth, Remy Papin sixth, Valentine Barrier down in seventh place after that double pit stop, Cruz in eighth, Toro Grosso ninth, and Jonathan Blizzard in 10th. Chris Warner 11th, 12th was Matt York, Junior was in 13th, Clifford 14th, Vining 15th, Znotin 16th, Loverink 17th, Giardinetto 18th, Delebra 19th, and Makowski 20th. I am going to stop there. I know there is more, but my honestly, my voice is on its last legs, and I want to be able to see if we can get interviews. So let's see if we can get people to come and join us. It'd be very nice if they did, and a bit of a shame if they didn't, really. So let's see who it was. We had Van Thielen. Let's just tag them up. All right, well, Jardier's here, so we'll jump on board with Jards and we'll drag him in because he's always a very good chat. So let's get Jardier in after his absolutely heroic drive up into second place. So let's get him in. Jardier, can you hear me, good sir?
Yo, hello, yeah.
I mean, what a race that ended up being for you then. Absolutely out of nowhere in the last sort of 5 minutes of the race, after keeping yourself fairly to yourself most of the way through. Suddenly, you were just up there and there to take away second place from the two boys that were squabbling. So, I mean, talk us through it. We heard that your brakes weren't working very well. So, talk us through what was going on.
Oh yeah, it was really tough, you know. Like obviously in ACC, if you pit one lap earlier and you have like for 3 laps completely red wet tires, it's really painful for the rest of the race. I think Valentin, who pitted like very late, he was like a second faster in the last laps, you know. So yeah, that really hurt me. That really hurt me. It was really really difficult for the last like half an hour. It was really really difficult to keep the car on the track. But yeah, managed to survive. Yeah, the pace was still good somehow. I feel like I can only imagine if I would have a wishing well or something like that, so I can predict the weather for today, because I did 2 little mistakes. First of all, I wanted to start a race with a little bit more fuel just in case it rains, which I didn't. And then my whole chat was telling me to fuel save, and I fuel saved like way too late. So I was just 1.5 liter too short on extra lap, which would really, really help me, because I lost, I don't know, 5 seconds doing like earlier pit stop. And then I had super red tires, you know. So, but in the end, it worked. You know. So I can't complain that much.
I mean, it looked fantastic from where we were. I mean, obviously, for anyone that doesn't know, you not only sim race now, you are now fully taking part in Clio Cup racing around Europe. So are you feeling like real life racing is aiding your sim racing, or is it the other way around, or are they just not in any way related?
Oh, it's both. It's neck and neck. It's like both. Like a lot of people were making fun of me because after my Spa Clio Cup race, everyone kept saying in the next races that Clio move, you know, because I was like aggressive overtaking and such. So everyone was making fun of me that because of the Clio Cup, I became more aggressive. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely like going together, you know, like the stuff I like. Obviously in the Clio Cup, you have to like adjust to real racing. You have to adjust to the car. It's very specific race car, and it's very difficult to like get to know it. And it takes years. You know, my teammate told me it took him 2 years to understand how to be fast in the Clio Cup. But when the lights go green, everything is like exactly the same and the same. You know, it's another AOR, another sim race, you know, like because the people are doing exactly the same thing. The defending, the fighting, the overtaking is exactly the same, you know. So it definitely helps in both ways. And I would say the Clio little bit helped me to be a little bit more aggressive sometimes now, because sometimes I'm too nice. And now with the Clio, I was like, okay, I need to probably use my elbows a little bit more in the sim racing as well, you know.
We possibly going to have to see a different Jardier community car with, rather than you smiling on the side of it, are we possibly going to have to see you scowling now? This is going to have to be the new car.
Oh yeah.
So that would have to be rather than, yeah, because I've still got that livery in there. Every time I open it, it always makes me chuckle. I am going to quickly say while I'm here, because I have you directly, for some reason your livery still doesn't work. Even though it appears in my game, it still doesn't
that's
work
weird.
in the server. So yeah,
Okay.
because it would be nice to try and get your livery on, because so many people love you, Jards. Everyone loves you. You're the happiest man in sim racing. Amazing second place, mate. Any quick shout outs before I move on? Because Delfante as well is queuing up to have a chat.
I just thank you to the chat who were pushing me the whole race. I was really struggling, but the chat just kept saying go, 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 you know, and we won, and we were catching, and P2 in the end, like almost 5 for P1 as well. So it was pretty close. So GG chat, thank you very much.
Right, thanks, Jards, and hopefully we get to speak to you again next week, or Snetterton next week.
Hopefully,
So
yeah. Oh yeah, hopefully.
yeah, it'll be fine. It's a fine circuit,
you.
Snetterton.
Thank you, man.
Right,
Thank you.
speak to you next week. Cheers. Right, so Eric Delfante, our third place driver, is in here now. Good afternoon, or sort of good evening, Delfante. Talk us through it, because it looked like you were going to win that one.
Yeah, I was a bit unlucky with the strategy because I had to pit one or two laps too early, and that it was a big problem for my race because I had the tires in overheating for every lap of the second stint, so I was sliding around and I had no grip.
Yeah, I mean, it did look like you were sort of, well, Aiden really seemed to find masses of pace in that second sort of stint, and it did look like your car was just starting to struggle a little bit. There was definitely a few sort of elbows out racing moments between you and Aiden. I hope you're still friends after that one. Obviously, at the end of the Conrod Straight, the little collision between the pair of you under braking did end up sort of costing you both some positions, but you just about managed to hold on to that final podium spot, which does mean you maintain pole position. Well, you still lead in front of him in the championship. I think that probably puts you, well, continuing to lead the championship, but at least by a few points now, because you've been sharing that top spot with Aiden. And there was that thought of who is going to be quicker, sort of you or Aiden this time round. And to be fair, nearly exactly the same. It was just sort of a bit of luck of the draw. Luckily, you got pinged to the left and he got pinged to the right, and yeah, it came out all right. But those last few laps where you were really fighting with Aiden, did you think you could hold him off to the end?
I don't know. I think I did pretty well, hard but clean. But I don't know without the contact at the end if I can maintain him behind. But I think it was clean. A bit unlucky, but in my opinion, hard but clean.
Yeah, from where I was sat in the comms box, I think we were on the drone cam at the time. It just looked a little bit like 2 into 1 doesn't go. It was just one of those things. You both wanted the exact same bit of circuit. No one was really in the wrong and whatnot. So, but who knows? I mean, I'll leave that up to the stewards. Thank God that isn't my job. I've been furiously watching all of the incident reports this week just to keep an eye on and see what's going on. Because if you weren't aware, there was a big crash in Tier 2 last week where basically the entire field crashed at turn 3 at Hungaroring. So, yeah, it's been very interesting to keep an eye on all of that. So, however messy it got at the opening of the beginning of this race was nothing in comparison to how bad it was last time. I say, luckily, you managed to keep yourself out of trouble because obviously you were leading there. So, there was an amazing qualifying lap from you as well, actually. Let's have a quick look at that time. What was that qualifying lap from you? That was a 205.012. And then Valentine Barrier, who put in a 205.0.5. So
yeah, it was close.
It was very close. But a Honda, 1-2 on the qualifying. I don't think anyone was expecting that, really. We know the Honda is a quick car, but it isn't necessarily the car you expect to be super quick here at Bathurst. I can't remember if it was you that was saying you weren't particularly looking forward to Bathurst, but I mean, it went pretty well for you.
Yeah, I think Honda is very fast with wet conditions, but not with when you reach the tires. If that happened, I finish, and was my second stint because I had to pit too early. I then had an advantage to pit the lap after, and I think it was that my lack of pace in the second stint. But yeah, in quali with fresh tires was very good to drive and very fast.
I think all of you drivers inside the top 4, well, even 5, just all of you were just on another level this evening. I mean, the whole field was quick, but you guys really did sort of somehow manage to just find an extra gear and sort of knobs were turned to 11. So you absolutely went for it.
Thanks.
But thank you ever so much for joining us, Eric. It's been absolutely fantastic to chat with you again. Possibly get to talk to you again next week, depending on how you get on at Snetterton. But yeah, fingers crossed. And I think that puts you leading the championship now. I'm not good enough at maths to definitely say it, but pretty sure.
I think yes.
Yeah, I think you're leading it now. So fantastic. And it's been podiums every time round. So happy days.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks for joining us, Eric.
Yeah, happy with my season. Thanks.
No worries. And we'll speak to you next week, hopefully. Right, so that is it for us here at Apex Online Racing. I've been Tim360 Lunn. Join us again next week for Tier 1 at Snetterton. But if you cannot get enough racing, don't worry, race fans. Tomorrow is Tier 2. Same place, so it's Bathurst, 90 minutes. My voice is going to be even more destroyed. Hopefully it's a bit cleaner than it was before. Oh, very weird noise just came from my headset then. I'm not sure what that was, but there we go. But fingers crossed. Everything goes well tomorrow. Thank you ever so much for joining us this evening, and we will see you tomorrow, same place, same time, 7:30 for Tier 2.